what a good year for reading it's been. I went through my Goodreads today, being the 31st, last day of the year, and it's just kind of reminiscing, remembering, looking at all the books that I've read, and I counted them up. And I have to say that I'm ashamed, not of what I've read, but of the number of books. My goal is usually 52 a year, right? One per week, and I read 67. Okay, not my fault. Just the way the cookie crumbles. But yeah, anyways, I thought for today, 67 is too many to go through one by one. The video would be like an hour or something like that. And your time is more valuable than that. Anyways, what I thought we would do for a better use of time is to go through maybe my top 10 reads of the year and then my 5 worst reads of the year. Yeah, so let's start the very first, and these are in no particular order, by the way. These are just kind of random, whatever one came up in my feed first. And the first up we have Steinbeck's Burning Bright. Now, I read East of Eden. It was the first Steinbeck book I read, and I loved it. 5 stars, one of my favorite books. But that was last year. So I thought I'd read another Steinbeck this year because I loved him so much. Burning Bright's pretty short. You can read it in like 1 or 2 sittings. The premise is that there's this dude who is sterile, and he's trying to come to terms with his sterility and how that relates to him, like his masculinity and stuff. And then his wife, who loves him, commits adultery in order to give him a child. And so there's this like very, yeah, it's a very like philosophical book. And of course, Steinbeck is a master. So highly recommend Burning Bright. Next up is one I just finished, and that is The Pickwick Papers. Now, this is... Dickens serialized this when he was 24. So if you needed more pressure to feel like you're getting behind as an author and you haven't published anything, yeah, he wrote this when he was 24, which is amazing, and it shot him to immediate stardom, okay? Dickens, one of those authors that was famous within his own lifetime, and yeah, this is the book that did it. Now, the premise is basically that there's this club of people. What is the purpose of the club? It's not really important. It's just a bunch of middle-aged English dudes that go around London and the countryside getting into trouble. And he eventually picks up a servant, the main character, Mr. Pickwick, picks up a servant called Sam Weller, and the two kind of mirror Don Quixote and Sancho Panza from Cervantes's famous novel, and it's just really like enjoyable. Like honestly, it's so, some of these thick books may be intimidating, you know, this one shouldn't be. It's so readable, and it's like a sitcom, basically. It's like a Victorian sitcom. So yeah, highly recommend Pickwick Papers. Next up, we have W.W. Jacobs' The Monkey's Paw. Now, I didn't expect to like this as much as I did. I read it for Halloween. I know I try to do seasonal reads, and so Monkey's Paw, you know, the premise is like they find this like strange relic from I think maybe somewhere in India, and it grants wishes, and it's kind of a spooky little short story about like be careful what you wish for, right? The famous phrase, you know, the monkey's paw curls, a wish is granted in a way that you didn't expect. That's from this. And not all of the short stories in here are like horror. Actually, only like 1 or 2 are. Most of them are like humorous. But yeah, they were just, I don't know, I've never read anything else from Jacobs, but he is a master of the short story. There's no doubt of that. Next up we have, sorry, I will apologize in advance. I don't have all the books with me. Some of them are in my storage bins. I'm in between places right now, so I don't have them all. I can't show the camera, but maybe I'll edit a photo on, who knows. But next up is going to be Zorba the Greek, and I don't have this one with me, but this one was very good. Now, the premise is basically that there is a dude who is kind of, doesn't really know where he's going in life. He's kind of lost, but he's also very reserved and kind of shy, kind of an academic, bookish type of person, and doesn't really appreciate life. And he meets this other guy called Zorba, who is very sensuous, and he just kind of lives in the moment and they become really good friends as they go about this business venture together. And yeah, Zorba kind of teaches, I forget the main character's name. I'm not even sure if he gets a name. He remains unnamed. But he kind of inspires him to like pick the fruits from life and just like enjoy, and to not be so cerebral and detached. I think I actually made a video about this book back on my road trip, so you can go and watch that. Next up, I also made a video about this book, and I think it's one of the only books I gave 5 stars to this year, which is saying something. I'm pretty selective with my rating. And that is Joyce Carey's Mr. Johnson. Now, this book, it's so fun. It's very strange, too. The premise is that there's this guy in Africa who was born there. He's African. This is during the time of the British colonies, when they were kind of developing, I guess. When would that be? Like Victorian era-ish? Maybe not quite. Maybe it's a bit later. Anyways, he's this guy, Mr. Johnson, is hired on as a clerk as a part of the outpost, British outpost that's near his village. And Mr. Johnson is so strange. He's like, he's a bit conniving. He kind of likes to like steal and like get things his way and like not really, and to cut corners basically. But he's also very endearing and like just wishes everyone well and doesn't try to like harm like anybody in particular. And he also thinks that he's British, and like even though he's never been to England because he's African, so he's just a very strange, like lovable character. And he gets into all sorts of trouble, and his life just kind of gets worse and worse, and then it's like 1 step forward, but then 2 steps back, and eventually his life kind of just unravels by the end of the novel. And yeah, it's just really fun. I think Chinua Achebe, the guy who wrote Things Fall Apart, he was like mad at Joyce Carey for writing this book. He's like, it doesn't present like an accurate portrayal of Africa, which yeah, it doesn't. And I don't even know if that's really the point. I mean, if it was, obviously Carey failed, but I think maybe he's too sharp for that. I don't think that's the point of the book, is to paint a portrait of Africa that's accurate. I think it's just a fun novel. So yeah, highly recommend Mr. Johnson. Next up, Charlotte Bronte. I read 2 Bronte novels this year. Not having read any before. The ones I read were Jane Eyre and Villette, and they were both really good. Now, I'd have to give the edge to Jane Eyre, just because it's just more punchy. It's shorter, there's plot twists, there's more action. Villette's a little more subdued, and there's more like a slow burn, a slow build. But yeah, they're both really, really well done. I love Charlotte Bronte after having read these 2 novels. So yeah, I'll probably definitely put another one for 2026 on my list. But Jane Eyre, I don't want to spoil it, okay? I don't want to say too much about it. But there's this orphaned girl named Jane Eyre, and she's like has no family connections. She's totally destitute. She's abused at this boarding school, and eventually she finds her way to a job as a governess, which is like an in-house tutor for this rich family. And there's this brooding man named Mr. Rochester, who's older than her, and he's tall, dark, handsome, basically. Actually, no, I don't think he's described as handsome. I think both Jane and Mr. Rochester are like described as like kind of like average looking, or like not frumpy, but like like not particularly attractive. But anyways, there's this like romance about him, and she falls for him, and then there's all these weird things going on in the house, and yeah, I don't want to say anything else. It's really good. And as a bonus, there are several adaptations to Jane Eyre that are really good. I think I only watched one of them. I forget which one. But yeah, I love when the movie is actually like what's the word for it? It actually sticks to what the author wrote. The book, it's not like the film director doesn't take too many liberties. It like matches well. And then you get to see the book come to life. It's very satisfying. So yeah, Jane Eyre, highly recommend that one. Next up, okay, I do have this one with me, and that is Thomas Hardy's The Woodlanders. Now, I read my first Hardy novel last year with book club, and that was Return of the Native. I really liked it. And this year I read 2 more. I read Woodlanders, and then I also just finished reading, like 2 days ago or whatever, Tess the Dubervilles. And both of those were very good. So I'm actually going to count these as one book. I don't know, no one's counting, but if you're counting to 10, these will count as one book. Tess the Dubervilles and the Woodlanders. I think I have to give the edge to the Woodlanders, though, even though both are really good. The premise is that there's this girl, and she lives in this small kind of English town in the countryside. It's barely a town, it's more of like a hamlet or a small group of houses. And she's not engaged to this guy, but it's kind of understood that her and this other local dude are going to get married. His name's Giles Winterbourne, and I forget what the girl's name is. That's kind of embarrassing. But anyways, it'll take too long if I look in here. But yeah, and they are pledged to be married, basically. But then this other local, or not local, sorry, this other guy moves into town. It's this young, rich, well-to-do doctor. He's kind of a strange fellow, doesn't really make any friends there. He really feels himself to be set apart and more like civilized and intellectual than the rest of the people in the village. Yeah, the main protagonist girl's father is very socially ambitious and like hopes that she can marry this new doctor instead of Giles, and she does, and it's just, there's just so many terrible things that happen as a result of this, because Fitzpiers, which is the name of the doctor, he is a bad dude. And I guess that's all I'll say about Woodlanders. But yeah, another kind of failed romance novel, very good. In some sense, I feel like Hardy only writes like one kind of novel. It's just like a really, really sad romance, but they're good, so I can't complain. Test of the Dubervilles, I think enough people maybe know about that one, I won't explain it. But yeah, it's also really good. Okay, I will explain it quickly. There's a girl, she lives also in the English countryside, and she is raped, and, you know, it's just very terrible. And she bears a child which dies, and then time kind of passes, and she kind of tries to forget about it. But back then, this is set in the Victorian era, so they're very, like, sex outside of marriage is very taboo, right? So she falls in love with this other guy later, but then she kind of carries with her this secret, is that she's not a virgin. She is, like, by nature, she's a husband to another man, because of this thing that's happened to her. And so the whole novel is like her wrestling with this idea of like, do I tell him the truth? And yeah, there's a few plot twists in this one too, especially near the end, but I don't want to spoil it either, because it's a good novel. Also don't have this one with me, but the best poetry I read this year probably is William Blake's Songs of Innocence and of Experience. Now, that comes with a reservation, because of course I read a lot of good poems this year, but I didn't read too many actual full poetry books, so there wasn't too much competition. That being said, even if there was competition, this book still might have won, because William Blake's poetry is very good. So yeah, I don't know if I'll say too much more about it, but it's very beginner friendly. I think I recommended it in my newsletter. So yeah, William Blake, Songs of Innocence and of Experience. Last up, okay, these last two, they kind of count, not really, because I read, like, I don't want to say the majority, but like, yeah, I read the majority of them in 2024, but I finished them in 2025, so they kind of count. And the first one of those is Flannery O'Connor's The Complete Stories. Now, I don't have that with me, it's in one of my bins, but yeah, Flannery O'Connor, Catholic writer in the American South in the early 20th century, exquisite, very good. I'm trying to remember what my favorites are, because they're all short stories, it's not a novel. But I marked my favorites in the book with like stickies, but I can't find the book, so I have it. I know I have it. I just can't find it right now. I'm just looking at the list here. I don't remember. Anyways, yeah, there's a lot of good things, or good stories in that compilation. And then the second one that I read mostly in 2024, but finished this year, was The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky, which we also did in our book club. And yeah, I mean, this is like one of like the all-time classics. It's another really long one, and yeah, I don't know if I want to say much about it right now, but I think I did a few part video series on this one as well. But yeah, it's good. So yeah, those are the top 10 or something. And yeah, it's a good mix. Some poetry, some short stories, long books, short books. Yeah, it's all classics, of course. That's mostly like my focus, but yeah, good mix. I'm happy with it. And one more that I want to mention that I didn't make the list because I'm not finished reading it yet. I just started like a month ago and I'm kind of taking it slow. But The Poet's Companion by Adonizio and Doreen Lowe. Lowe. I haven't finished it yet, like I said, but if you are interested in writing poetry at all, or you're an author, or yeah, even if you're just a reader, this book is very good. It's very practical. It's kind of a guide to poetry. So yeah, recommending this as well. Okay, now onto the 5 that I the 5 worst things I read this year. And this comes with a reservation as well. The 5 worst things I finished this year. Because I hate DNFing books, like do not finish. I hate DNFing books. It just feels like a total cheat. And I know that's bad because you should cut your losses and not waste your time. But I don't know. I don't like, I'm a man of my word, okay? I like to finish the things that I start. So there's 2 books I DNF'd this year. I think one of them was Poetry of Robert Burns. Okay, nothing against Robert Burns. Super talented guy. He wrote Auld Lang Syne, right? So super talented. But the whole thing is like written in like some sort of like English Gaelic dialect. Yeah, I don't understand it. It's like, I'm not Scottish. I can't read that. So that's why I DNF'd that one. And then the other one I DNF'd, oh man, I have to check my Goodreads. I don't remember. But yeah, some other thing. Anyways, of the books that I did finish, here are the 5 worst. And the first one I'm going to catch flack for, okay? I just didn't like it. I don't know why. And that is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, okay? I did definitely appreciate getting getting perspective on the Holocaust. I haven't really read a lot of books from that time era, so there's definitely some things I learned. But I went into that book expecting really good things, and it just kind of fell flat for me. I'm not really sure why, but yeah. Anyways, sorry. But the rest of these 4 are very fair books to not like. And the first is Wordsworth Guide of Herbs and Spices. I should have DNF'd this. What a waste of time. The entries are just repetitive. They don't give you any interesting information. It's more of a reference book. So why did I read it like a novel? Kind of my own fault. Next up, Myths of the Origin of Fire by James Fraser. This guy wrote Golden Bow, right? Golden Bow. So he was an ethnologist, I guess, or like an anthropologist, a mythologist. And yeah, Golden Bow I am hoping to read at some point. I have high expectations. But Myths of the Origin of Fire, it's just a compilation of a bunch of fire myths from different civilizations. And again, it's more of a textbook, it's more of a reference book. Why did I read it like a novel? It's my own fault, right? A lot of them were just really repetitive, and I didn't enjoy it. So yeah, shouldn't have read that. Second last here of the worst reads is I have Wyland, okay, and Memoirs of Carwin the Biliquist. A very interesting concept, but the prose style and the writing just wasn't enjoyable. So if you have Wyland on your list, unless you're studying like early American literature, you can probably skip it. Sorry. And then very last, worst read of the year, Twilight. Need I say more? I read it because I traveled to, oh man, how can I forget this? The town. What's the town called? This is really embarrassing. Now I gotta pull up my phone just to remember. Does it start with an F? Oh man. Forks, of course, Forks. Yeah, I traveled to Forks on a road trip, and so I read it as like cultural experience, and it was really bad. I'm sorry. If you like it, it's probably just because of nostalgic value, and maybe because of the movie. The book itself is terrible. Okay, those are my 10 best reads of the year and 5 worst. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what the best book you read this year was. I want to know. Otherwise, here's the whoa, I'm talking too fast. I can't speak. Here's to 2026, and hopefully we get lots of good reads in next year too. Thanks for watching. See you later.